Hi guys, Mr. Jaeger here, and welcome back to IAE 2954. Today we start our journey not in the exhibit, but instead in the hangar bay, because I didn't really want to showcase the first vessel in the expo center where glitches, issues, and other jazz could potentially be a factor. No, today I thought we'd give our first big vessel an introduction worthy of its name and title. I give to you, ladies and gentlemen, the Polaris. Yes, the Polaris is an absolute bloody marvel. Oh, it's so cool. Yes, this is the RSI Polaris, the vessel very much hyped for the year, and it is most certainly living up to its name. I mean, truth be told, I am gonna say this. I have we have actually been I have been on this particular vessel a couple of times before. So while I don't know a huge amount of the layout, I do know enough to be able to navigate between the front and the rear, which, to be fair, might be a good thing. First of all, let's actually get ourselves hopping onto this thing. I think the entrance to the ship. Ah, here it is. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to probably spend a fair amount of time in this video talking about the ship. So we've got ourselves a bit of a work to deal with. I will do my best to be as quick as possible, but this is going to be quite a lengthy video. I can sense it already. So I hope you guys enjoy this little thing. And oh, that's cool. Little tiny... little tiny vessel, so... We'll go up to here. So what we'll do is we'll take it to the cargo bay, and we're gonna steam our way up. Oh, this is pretty cool. Dun, 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 dun. Nice. Oh, dude, RSI is nailing it when it comes to their larger ships. Seriously, I freaking love this. This is ridiculous how good this is. So we will take a left first of all, so we can go into the cargo bay. Ignore the things to my left and my right. We'll get to that. So we're going to head over to the cargo bay doors, because I'm going to quickly showcase to you one of the ways you can get into the ship. And to be fair, I can imagine this is what's going to be the main ways for quite a large amount of people. So the Polaris has two massive cargo bay doors which open out to the side. The cargo bay itself, which I believe we're in, holds up to 570 SCUs worth of cargo, which is pretty significant if you have a look at it. It doesn't look like you can hold a 576 SCUs in this area, but apparently you can. An entire caterpillar's worth of cargo is held in this one room. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. That is just genuinely ridiculous. My brain boggles at the size of it. But hey ho, here we are. So the Polaris, as you can see, is an absolute bloody marvel in terms of its design philosophy. But no, but to briefly explain what it is, the Polaris is a Corvette-sized... Yeah, this is a Corvette-sized. This giant fuck off of a ship is a... Anyway, this vessel is a Corvette vessel designed to be utilized from the UEE as well as the Civilian Defense Militia. What is the Civilian Defense Militia? It is an initiative that was set up. If we head over to the Mercenary tab, and then we head... Actually, to be fair, if we go to Reputation, we should probably be able to see this option. Yes, Civilian Defense Force. So, the Civilian Defense Force is the... Oh, does it actually give me anything for it? No. The Civilian Defense Force is an initiative set up by the UEE to encourage civilians and citizens to set up defenses and fight for their land and do all the cool shit to basically get their... Well, to protect their sectors whilst also dealing with any threats to their own homes. So overall, pretty impressive stuff. Very much happy with that one. So, to defend the UEE settlements, what weapons does this thing have to defend itself with? Well, Sonny Jim, you're going to love this. So, the main armament of this vessel is 28 size 10 torpedoes. That's right, size fucking 10 torpedoes. And these bastards have 28 of them. Seriously. Oh, I love this thing already. It's got the DACA. It's got the DACA. So you can access the torpedoes via this little section here, and we're gonna go into the into the fire control system, as you can see by that. We're gonna make our way over to the console on the top. He says, "Come on, there we go." So we access the console on the top, and as you can see, it's got a very nice display. And you can, oh look, yeah, you can see, you can load the torpedoes in, which is pretty cool. So we're going to enter the remote turret, but we're not going to do anything else. But yeah, so basically the remote control turret accesses a little camera on the underside of the ship, and it has the ability to, as you can see here, see pretty a decent view. Though to be fair, the controls for this torpedo device, I believe, can also be utilized by the pilot, but really, you kind of, when you're flying a vessel this large, you kind of want someone else dedicated for the role to be in this position. So we're gonna leave this be, because we definitely need to we'll leave this be for the moment. But as you can see, pretty impressive nonetheless. And don't ask me why I'm so determined not to touch anything. Just gonna leave that there. So that's the main armament of these things. So the size 10 torpedoes definitely have a punch. I did a session, I did a number of the missions that's currently operating at the moment. The Slicers Incursion, where you have to fight off an Idris. Yeah, we had a few Polarises take part in that battle, and oh boy, the size 10s made an impact for definite. So the second option in terms of weapons for the Polaris is these size 6 guns. Now, sadly, these size 6 guns don't really have a name, which is a bit of a shame, to say the least. We get the power on. Let's see, synchronized power, fire mode. There it is, power. So yeah, these size 6 guns that are available on the bow section are mental. I don't know if these particular ships have if these particular guns have a sort of... Oh, nice. You can actually zoom in pretty much crazily. Nice. But no, I don't know if these particular guns have a unique name or not. I would say... Oh, gyro. Wait, E's gyro mode? GG. Okay. But no, so these particular vessels... These particular guns... Oh, there we go. Perfect. So yeah, these particular guns are ridiculous. They've got 300 rounds ballistic, and they do quite a fair amount of damage. I'm just quickly looking at the wiki for these things. All it says is ballistic underscore... Yeah, all these things are described as is... Where is it? There it is. Yeah, RSI underscore bespoke ballistic... RSI underscore bespoke underscore ballistic cannon, A. Which, okay, that's not really a name we're going to be giving these things. So, and to be fair, the torpedoes also have the same issue. They don't have a name. I suppose, I'll have to try and come up with a name. I mean, you've got 300 rounds in those things, so maybe you could call it, like, I don't know, the Spartan or something like that, because, in honor of the 300, if you will. But the size 10s, or you could say with the things 300 rounds of... You know what, I'm going to call the front guns 300 rounds of fuck off, and and this one, these size 10s, we'll just call... I'll have to think of a name. I can't think of anything specific at the moment, but we'll have a name. Anyway, so that is your main form of armament when it comes to the vessel, but it does have other defenses as well. It also has, in addition, 8... Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, it has size 4 Omniski cannons, which is mental, though I think you can also replace those with size 4 repeaters, which I would say is probably a good shout for that one. And you also have... so 5-man turrets with quad size 3 CF Panther repeaters, and then it has a couple of Omniski 7 cannons. It's ridiculous how much firepower this thing has, and it also has a turret which has just got size 2 missiles as well, which is also ridiculous. So there's a whole host of stuff in this regard. Oh hello, what's this? Oh, that's cool. Oh, nice control system. Oh, nice. You can use the tractor beam on this thing as well. Nice. So if I popped onto this, where's the remote for this thing? I want to say on the back of the ship. No, internal tractor beam. Oh, look, there I am. I'm sorry. I didn't see that there. Are you fucking for real? I didn't realize it had its own fucking internal tractor beam. That's so cool! Oh my god, oh my god. I am like a fucking schoolgirl. I'm like, oh my god! Oh my god, that's so cool. Right, internal tractor beam. Super fucking cool. So, speaking of super fucking cool, we're in the engine room with its really cool looking engine. Seriously, the details in this game are beyond beautiful. Like, just every time we come into this point, we get an additional step in the right direction. And obviously, one of the things that this particular ship heralds, though at the moment, you lucky Schweinhoods, you get to enjoy this without having to worry about engineering. But engineering will make this thing impossible to utilize without at least a crew of 6. Yeah, the crew requests capacity. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So the crew request capacities. Curious for this thing. So the amount of crew you need to utilize this goes up to 6 at minimum. So minimum amount of crew you need is 6. And then in order to... Right, let's see if we can get this thing to the 2nd floor, shall we? Okay. I'm just going to stay up here. So, okay, so this is the engineering platform where the chief engineer would sort of be chilling. Oh, wow. Oh, dude, this thing keeps going. Yeah, look at it. So, yeah, so as you can see, this vessel is massive, and it requires a lot of dedication, a lot of time to be spent organizing and sorting and doing. And because this is a dedicated combat platform, you have got a massive amount of work. Wow, component access. No fucking way. Oh, wow, that's so cool. And you got the grav core there. I don't really want to touch that because that looks very painful if you touch it. But there you go. So all of this stuff you have to kind of make sure to hop onto, board with, and everything else like that, which is accessible towards the rear of the ship. Nice. Have a look, see if we can... Oh, okay, so that then takes you up to here. Okay, that makes sense. Right, anyway. So we're now going over to the hangar bay, which... For anyone who's obviously seen Law of the West's video, you know exactly how many this thing can house. But for those who haven't, this thing can house up to 17 Furies. Now, if you may recall from the Misk episode, we had you could tell the size of that ship is mental. But this particular hangar, which has working fucking lights, is that huge. Can house a load of ships. It can house I want to say Warden Vanguard. It can house a Saber. It can house many various vessels. You can easily store a number of ships on this. I reckon at least four Gladiuses, maybe 5 or 6. Buccaneers. Oh my god, the Buccaneer's going to have a fucking field day being on this thing. It almost looks like it's goddamn concrete. It's ridiculous. This thing is like a pocket carrier as well with torpedoes. It's fucking mental. Like, seriously, this is a freaking huge ship, and the potential for this bastard to do so much damage is unparalleled. Seriously, I love it. I absolutely love this thing. And there's so much to look and explore and to do, Jesus Christ. Right, we'll try and keep ourselves cohesive as much as possible. So, moving on back to where we were originally, you also have, I believe, somewhere nearby. So you've got access to the components and the storage and things, which is pretty cool. If we make our way towards the right, I'm guessing there's some things here. Oh, maintenance area. So there's some maintenance hatches that you can use if you're wanting to do well. You've got somewhat navigable areas, as well as a door to the side. Okay, what does this do? Oh, nice. So this is this is the brig. This is a legitimate brig, and you can actually open the door. Someone stays in here, and yeah, is actually trapped. So you push the door to close, and then you lock it. So you hit the lock button. Boom. They can't get out, and then you put the lights to auxiliary. And there you go. So, if you're captured or you're a criminal, you will be... nice, you can put the storage in here as well. Oh, wait, so you can, like, put food in there, and they can... Oh, that's actually really fucking cool. So you can actually give them food in there. And, oh, that's actually kind of... that's actually pretty cool. That's actually really fucking cool. I like that. You can actually have your brig. I don't think I've ever seen a brig in Star Citizen before, so congratulations, everyone. We did it. We have finally got a prison that you can... a player-made prison. So, yeah, there you go. Player-made cells. Brilliant. That's actually really cool. And it's a good, to be fair, like, that's something you actually will need to realize. Like, in Star Citizen, death of a spaceman is gonna mean a lot, especially when it comes to... Oh, nice, you can actually store the fuel tanks in here. I wonder what these mean in the future. But no, in regards to doing something like that, if you have players who are insubordinate to their officers, to their command staff, you will need to toe the line and be like, no, you're gonna fucking do what I say, or if you don't, you're in the brig. And yeah, that is the potential. The medical bay, this is the largest I've ever seen. So in terms of vessels, these are tier 2 medical facilities. So you can actually have up to 4 of these things, which is ridiculous. I've never seen so many medical beds on a singular ship before. And you've obviously got the head physician as well, which is pretty dope. So yes, I absolutely love it, and I very much approve of all of these things. This is absolutely phenomenal. Like the sheer scale of this place. So there's the emergency escape pods. So this is a turret access, which we won't go too much into, but this takes you down into that turret access bay, and it will let us access the size 3s or the size 4s. Now this bit is for the docking collar. So there's about 3 ways you can get in this ship. The ramps on the side of the bay, which makes sense. And then you've got these things which open up onto the side. And you actually can use these to dock. I've actually been with a few friends of mine. We've gone to the R&R stations, and we have actually docked. These do function as intended. You know, do you remember those days when docking was a thing? Christ. Jesus Christ, that was cool. Oh, that's awesome. Anyway, going over to here, we have ladder access control point, which is really useful, definitely on that one. So you can access the ladder point for this one. And here is the mess hall, which has a throughway door system. That's how bloody massive this is. So you've got the living accommodations here, you've got the tables, and you've got the chess set, which is really cool. So this is the mess hall where the crew and the guys can sort of chill out, have a few meals, do whatever. You bastards have a really cool TV array. I would love to sit here and watch this IRL. To be fair, if we actually had this thing in real life, I think the whole world would explode in terms of excitement. But yeah, no, this thing is really cool. RSI knows how to make a good ship. And if we make our way across to the other side, we are introduced to the habitation ward for the crew. So they get some really snazzy quarters. You get two crew per bed. Well, 2 beds per crew room, and you get the a working. Oh wow, that's cool. Right, I'm gonna close this so we don't. There we go. So a working mirror once again, and a crew quarters for 2, which is pretty nice and neat. You get some TV screen time as well, which is nice. What's this? Is this the doorway out? Oh no, there's just more of them. Oh, so they do it like staggered column. Okay. So if we make our way across to here, we are then put into the other side of that. That's actually ridiculous. I think, is this the yeah, that's the thing as well. I'm honestly still getting a bit lost at this point. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so that's the right-hand side entrance/exit for the doors. So if we now make our way towards the captain, well, we make our way towards the crew, to make our way towards the main thoroughfare, we have the turret access for the much larger turrets on the sides here. So depending on whether or not you've got the turrets occupied or not, they are available there. What's this do? Oh, this door is apparently locked. Oh, I think this is the captain's room, but they haven't quite completed that yet. So this bit apparently is not accessible at this moment, but they are going to implement it in the future, which is fair enough. So we have the main elevator access over here, and over here is the armory. Hello, welcome, meine Kinder. We are going to use you quite well indeed, and we're going to definitely use this. I mean, the thing is, the biggest factor about this entire ship as we make our way towards the bridge is just think about the prospects that players will have. The org is going to fucking love this. Like, organized gameplay is like, orgs have been crying out for a ship like this. This ship is representing a massive step in the direction, in the right direction for like player organized events, because now we have a bridge, we have a captain's seat, we have a Picard chair, we have a pilot, co-pilot, remote access turrets. It's ridiculous. This thing is amazing. I love it. I don't want to get it, because here's the weird thing. This thing is beyond my scale. Like, I'm not really much for a captaincy thing, at least at this moment in time. I don't think I have the gumption to really utilize something like this. But I know people who can. And when I was watching, to be fair, when I was doing the combat ops with our guys in Star Prime, one of the guys who was piloting this thing was already displaying the qualities of a captain of a Polaris that I knew I couldn't. And I am very much happy to serve under that kind of guy, in terms of, like, yeah, I'm very happy to work under that kind of thing, because for me, I'm not the combat kind of dude. This kind of ship is dedicated for one purpose. But to be fair also, at the moment it's dedicated for one purpose. I probably should rescind that and say this particular ship is a massive step which allows us to have the massive amounts of firepower, to have the massive amounts to have a mobile base, to be able to go from A to B, land on site, and prepare for the biggest and most incredible levels of combat possible. The Polaris is a monumental achievement, to say the least, and I, for one, am in absolute awe of the sheer scale of this thing. It is beautiful. I love this thing. And to be fair, it's really hard not to just stare at this thing and be like, "Oh my God, look at the amount of the journey that we have." Can I race it? Can I race it? Can I race it? Can I race it? Woo! Nice. But when you look at this particular ship, what this represents to me is the milestone that we've made as Star Citizen backers, that we've reached the point where we've got a fucking Polaris in this game. We have capital ships, flyable capital ships. I don't think it's bigger than like, in terms of, I think this is still it's not the largest flyable ship in game, sadly. So the fucking 890 jump beats it, which is depressing as shit. But I don't care. This thing is incredible, and I'm gonna just say this is the biggest and most impressive vessel we've ever seen in Star Citizen, and the potential for not only players to enjoy a much larger ship for combat, but then when you look at what the orgs can do, what kind of plans we can make, what kind of missions we can do, what kind of environments we can tame with these particular ships, is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I love every aspect of it. So, what a great way to start RSI Day. So, as we leave the hangar and return to the Expo Center, we are viewing a ship that is sadly somewhat living under the shadow, in a more literal sense, of the Polaris. But nonetheless, it is a pretty monumental vessel. This is the Zeus! Yes. The Mark II Zeus! Ah, but yes. So, this is the exploration vessel of the Zeus. And it is a pretty impressive vessel. And what I was talking about in terms of milestone is that this vessel came out first. So, you know, it has that on the Polaris. And it also is it's the first ship with a purposely designed system to utilizing the engineering gameplay. So you're entering into this it's a reasonably sized hangar, and also, if I had to describe this particular ship, it would be compact. This vessel is very small, but despite it looking small on the outside, the inside is actually pretty impressively sized and capable of being lived in, very much so. So you have 32 SCUs worth of cargo inside this multi-crew vessel, exploration vessel. Let's get the little gentleman to come out. There you go. Perfect. So we have habitation and living spaces, all the usual amenities. Non-working, sadly no working mirror, but that's we'll have to manage. But we have the toilets, we have the living accommodations, the very nice looking chair with an armory on the side. We then make our way over to the kitchen, whereupon we have access to quite a lot of living amenities to give the player, whoever decides to explore. It's because this particular vessel, it's famed for having some pretty decent things. It's got a very good radar. It's got all the component access as well to the rear. So it has all of the amenities that a player would need to help survive in the thick of it, whilst also managing themselves. We move over to this section here. Random just person on display. Fair enough. But as you can see, we have a pretty sizable room here with all of the component access. All the components to access along this point, as well as the engineering terminal, which is pretty cool. One of the other features, which I am honestly hoping more ships have, which is why I am very much looking forward to seeing this on... This is one of the main reasons that I was spoiled, and why when I talked about the C1 Hercules on Hercules Day, this right here is one of the reasons why I was spoiled. The Zeus has an exterior ladder system that opens up and heads down, giving players the ability to access their ship from the rear as well as from the front. So if your cargo bay is full, you can still access your ship. You also have this airlock, which sadly on the Expo Day doesn't work. But as this basically, what happens is, if we have a look into there we go. So we have access to the co-pilot seats and all of the other jazz, but we'll go into the pilot's bay just so we can see this really impressive display. So if we head over to here, so if we make our way further along to the front, and I zoom in a little bit, about here-ish, yeah, there we go. So if you may notice on the more to the lower part, to the center of the screen, you see the door access. Well, if I nudge this camera a tiny bit further forwards, there we go. So the airlock basically opens up a compartment in this ship, which then you can access, which gives you the ability to sort of stand on the outside of the ship, giving you the ability to have a docking system. Well, giving you a much better view for docking, which, if you're wanting to get off the ship in Atmo and have a good platform to shoot from or do whatever, that is an option for you. So actually, what I'll do is I'll hop out the ship from this point here. So yes, the ES is basically the exploratory vessel, and there is another version of the Zeus that is due to come out, which is the MR. That would be the combat / bounty hunting variant. But no, the main benefits of this particular ship is that it's the Mark II Zeus with a lot of potential for a small multi-crew vessel, and with the incoming changes to engineering, which gets more people to use ships like this is going to be very, very useful, very, very nice to say the least, and I'm very much in favor. Well, I'm hooked. I'm like super psyched for that. But the version I want more is this version. This is the Zeus Mark II CL, the cargo hauling variant. Now, this particular version has up to 128 SCUs worth of cargo. It also has a tractor beam, which, if we run through the building here, you can access, if we go into here, you can see you'll be able to access the tractor beam from the top here, and it kind of comes down to the bottom, and you're able to move all the cargo inside, which is really cool. The problem, though, the main downside of the Zeus in particular is its compactness means that, unfortunately, if you're trying to store larger boxes of cargo, you're limited in terms of what you can do. This particular hangar bay, for example, is really good because, as you can see, it's very wide, it's very spacious, you've got a lot of room on both sides. These struts are a little bit of a pain in the ass when you're trying to store stuff. But unfortunately, the big problem is that unless you can control the size of the boxes that we're able to put into, you're not really able to store stuff very effectively. So if you're trying the hauling contracts, for example, you will have to wait, and you'll have to cherry pick which missions you can do. If you can do missions below 100 SCUs worth of cargo, then yeah, definitely you can do it. But unfortunately, until they introduce a feature that allows players to choose the size of their cargo, then sadly we're going to have to just deal with this being the way it is. Once that feature's removed, once that feature is added, though, yeah, holy shit, this thing's going to be like #1 on my to-grab list. It's compact, it's useful, it's practical. RSI is nailing what I personally love, is I like a bit of style, but I want it to function. This, right here, this motherfucking ship is what the Star Lancer should be. It should have as much room dedicated to cargo as possible. It needs to have some amenity, sure, but not to the extent that the Star Lancer has. Seriously, I'm beginning to form a bit of a grudge against that ship because it's so filled with luxuries that it doesn't need. This is why the Zeus is better than the Star Lancer. It only has 128 SCUs worth of cargo, sure, but it fucking works for those 128 SCUs worth of cargo, and it certainly deserves a reputation for being an extremely versatile and effective vessel. Fuck, I want one. As we make our way towards the first of the two rooms, we are introduced to a pretty small array of tiny little fighters, and honestly, some of them have a bit of a nostalgic vibe to my heart. But before that, let's have a look at this particular ship. A ship which, at the moment, is working as intended, but it's not as impactful as everyone feared. This is the RSI Mantis, a quantum interdiction craft. Now, for those who don't know what quantum interdiction is, let me just hop into the ship in the very loud engine. Not entirely sure why it's so loud in here, but hey-ho. Have they improved the internal visuals? Jesus Christ, it's loud in here. Well, I'll just need to adjust the audio levels in the video at least, so you're going to probably hear that the voice is going to be very quiet, but... Oh, the voice is going to be... Yes, I'm going to mute myself and just keep the game's audio playing. GG. No, so this... Oh, shit, I just realized I'm probably not going to be able to showcase the fucking QED. Oh, no, I can. Fantastic. Right. So, the quantum interdiction device. This device at the back basically charges up a spherical orb filled to the brim with energy, and once it reaches its maximum level, it releases a giant pulse, similar to an EMP. Only what happens is it creates a sphere of quantum interdiction energy, which basically pulls people quantuming from A to B out of quantum and back into the real world, resulting in the person in particular either suffering from potential overload damage to something as simple as you've dropped their Capri Sun on the floor, and like my mech warriors in Battletech, you bang your head and you get a very bad injury which requires you to spend 20 days in the hospital. Looking at you, fucking... Anyway. So, the quantum interdiction device is, well, when this ship first came out, this received quite a lot of controversy and there was a bit of a backlash from the player base, because a lot of players were were concerned And to a degree, they weren't completely wrong with the concept that a vessel such as this could potentially ruin a lot of players' time by constantly interdicting them. What didn't help was that the patch prior to this vessel's launch, there was a high amount of players being interdicted by AI, and we feared that the freaking quantum interdiction craft being implemented by a player would make things 5 times worse. Well, the problem is that this particular ship has a couple of big disadvantages as a result of this QED system. The one advantage is that as soon as you do this to someone, they get every opportunity to kill you for 2 reasons. First, your power systems will have just expended a vast amount of energy, so you're not going to be in a position to rapidly take advantage of someone being quantum interdicted. Second, it is a crime to do this thing, and if you do this in a comm area, the person who's just been interdicted will kill you, and the UEE police will give them a ribbon for it. It's kind of, yeah. So if you're a ne'er-do-well wanting to take advantage of this particular vessel, then good luck to you. It does work. We have had people get quantum interdicted before, but not to the same extent as everyone was fearing, which is why I believe a lot of players, oh nice, they've updated it. Yeah, they have updated it. Okay. So yeah, this particular ship is famous, or infamous, but not as bad as everyone makes out to believe. And I think that's a good thing. I think this ship's potential for doing a lot is very much prominent, but at the same time, it's not something that I think will be as bad as... And I don't think it will ever be the same level of, oh, fuck a duck, this is terrible sort of thing. Instead, I think what will happen is you'll find a lot of players will potentially use this, and they might get a few lucky hits here and there, but it won't be as bad as everyone makes out to believe, and instead, you'll just get the occasional video on YouTube where someone gets interdicted, and you'll either have it where they get killed, the people in the Mantis get killed, or the people in the interdicted ship get killed. As we approach the other side of the base area, we can see a whole host of these tiny little vessels with all of the different little things, but all under the same name, the Aurora. Now, I'm not going to go crazy into this because we've talked about these particular vessels before, and I also appreciate that they all pretty much have the same chassis elements towards it. But I did want to talk about this one in particular because whilst we're on memory lane and talking about, obviously with the 5th anniversary of this particular series being run, I would be remiss if I didn't talk a bit about this thing, the Aurora MR, the ship that started it all. So this is RSI's Aurora, the vessel that I have, that was mine when I first started playing Star Citizen, when I docked in and out. In fact, you could go back to my first ever video, and I was talking about this particular ship being this was my first ever ship, and it was my first ever experience in Star Citizen with such a thing. And I owe it all to one of my very good friends, Mr. White. He gave me he bought me a ship package, and forever ruined my life. God damn you, sir. You have ruined my ability to have a normal life. Why would you do something so horrendously cruel? My wallet cries every time now. Duh. Anyway, as starter ships go, this is a pretty decent vessel. She's got 2 size 1 repeaters on the top. She has a size 1 missile. Oh, sorry, it's the mounting points for size 1. Actually, no, is that a missile? I want to say it is, but it might not be. But it does have a few... Does it have a missile? I want to say it has a missile. It does have a Mark... Yeah, 2 Mark 1 missiles. It does have missiles. I thought as much. But yes, no. So it has 2 size 1 missiles on the top. It has 2 size 1 repeaters, or Bulldog repeaters, on the front. It also has a 3 SCU storage in this little thing here. This is actually a storage slot that you can put boxes on, which I didn't realize until years later that this thing actually does store stuff. You also have, which is quite a very important thing here, you also have a bed. Yeah, you can actually sleep in this thing. It is very fucking basic, but you do have a bed. And as you can see by the pilot seat here, it's not exactly advanced, but it does pass the MFD test, which is very nice. So as you can see here, all of the lovely little views. And you do actually get quite a decent view inside the ship as well. So overall, I would say, yeah, no, this is really, really good. I personally really enjoy this particular vessel. And when I flew it for a limited amount of time, and I've occasionally taken to the wings for this thing, I found the Aurora was a really good vessel to start with. It is limited, I won't deny, but for a vessel that is one of the cheapest vessels you can get in Star Citizen, on average, you couldn't go... Like, there are other ships now that probably beat it in terms of the usability and effectiveness, but I like how this thing is still here, still strong, and still proud, which, when you see all of the different versions from the Combat Edition, and is that the ES? Is that the basic bitch beyond belief? Yeah. No, LX. I can't remember what the LX is. It's either the extra long... Oh, no, it's the extra long cargo capacity, yeah. So that was like the cargo carrying one. And then you've got the cheapest bitch, which is the ES. You've then got the sort of racing edition, if you will. There are many versions of the Aurora, all of which have their own particular uniqueness and blend, but at the same time, they all hark back. In my opinion, the only one that really matters is the MR, because that was where that's where everything began with me. I wouldn't be here at all if Mr. White hadn't bought me that ship package. So, as much as I joke and jive about how he's ruined my life, I do very much appreciate the kindness that he showed that allowed me to be, which put me in the position that I am today. So, yeah, no, this whole thing, yeah, that MR is, yeah, it's, thank you. Seriously, mate. Thank you, Mr. White. Very awesome. As we enter into the room before the holodecks, we are presented with a beautiful sight. First of all, we've been presented with the X-Wing and the X-Wing Antares, which is really nice. I don't know why they keep calling it the Scorpius, because all I see is an X-Wing over here. But going over to the other side as well, we have the Constellation series, the first of which being the Aquila. The one to the left is the Phoenix, and I'm trying to tell whether or not that the one to the right is the Taurus. No, I believe that one is the... Yeah, that one looks to be... Oh, no, that is the Taurus. So they put the Andromeda at the back. Oh, dear. The Andromeda is not having a good day. Well, anyway, more to the point, let's talk quickly about the X-Wing. So we showcased the X-Wing in high detail in the Invictus launch week, so I won't go too crazy with this. But what I will say is that the X-Wing is beautiful. The Scorpius, to give it the name that some people want to call it, is, yeah, the Scorpius is a fantastic two-man ship, and it is well worth your time. If you are a fan of Star Wars and want to enjoy the best starfighter in the Star Wars universe, fucking fight me, then I can think of no better opportunity to share your love of the X-Wing than by buying the X-Wing. In fact, I owned the X-Wing for a time, and I very much enjoyed my time with it. Though at the time, I then melted it because I was in the process of sorting out some other stuff, which, at the time of this video's recording, I've yet to finalize in that particular respect, but come the end of tomorrow, I'm either going to be super fucking excited or super fucking down. We will see. But regardless of that, I can say with hand on my heart, the X-Wing is a fantastic vessel, which, if you have a friend that can hop in with you, you can maximize its firepower to the ultimate level, though I am also hoping at some point in the near future that they will be able to slave the turret to the front, giving you some additional levels of firepower. So, the X-Wing has access to 4 size 3 Panther repeaters, which is a very, very good load to have for sure. And on the top as well, you have an additional 4 size 3 repeaters. Now, that is more dedicated for the co-pilot to be utilizing. But again, I kind of hope that in the future, they just allow players... Sure, cycle up an absolute bugger ton on the power system so that you have to have something to, counteract you having a auto-slave turret, or hell, remove 2 of the guns to keep things balanced. But I would personally love to see something along those lines. Now, the X-Wing Antares is a bit of a unique vessel, and it's kind of a disappointment in some eyes, and I can understand why. The X-Wing Antares removes the turret, but instead introduces an EMP and quantum interdiction system, which I don't know if it will show. There we go, yeah. So it'll introduce a quantum interdiction system as well as an EMP to fuck over any opponents in the field. But the problem is that in order to use this quantum interdiction system, you need to be a co-pilot. So effectively they turn you into a Rio, which... If anyone's into DCS, sure, that's a lot of fun you can be. But if you're just flipping a switch in the middle of combat, I would only give that role to someone who's brand new to Star Citizen and wants to get involved in their first space battle, but doesn't need to have any of the responsibility. Which, yeah, no, that's pretty much what I would list it as. So, before we wrap up today by going to the holodeck, we have to obviously introduce the oldest but the proudest of vessels in Star Citizen, the Constellation series. These ships were in during the beta, the tech demo, the wherever you want to call it, Kickstarter. They've been there, they've seen the badge, and have bought many t-shirts. And they are worthy of respect. Like, we owe them a lot of respect in this regard. I mean, Christ, when I first watched Mighty Jingle's video, my first introduction to Star Citizen was through him making a video about the Constellation Andromeda, and he was showing me what this vessel was like, and you can get in the ship and you can look at all this incredible stuff, and my brain was just like, oh my god. It was incredible, and I very much like this. And we have 4 of them. I won't go into huge levels of detail because we'll be here forever. But what I will hop into though is my favorite of the quads. But I will explain each particular variant and its unique elements. So the vessel to the front is the Constellation Aquila. This is the exploration and science vessel. This particular version is identifiable. Run by it's much better by its rounded frontal glass imagery, which ironically I would say is is better than the traditional piked nose front of all the other versions. But we'll again, one day, hopefully, CIG will allow us to have that thing on the Taurus. If you can do this, if anyone from CIG watches this, please, can I have the ability to put the Aquilas? I should have said that at fucking CitizenCon. Can we please put the front of the Aquila on, or have the ability to swap the front of the Aquila to go on the Taurus? I will love you long time. Thank you. So yes, the Constellation Aquila is a science version of the ship, which allows them to have a deep range scanning device as well as a limited amount of cargo space, but it is a very nice looking vessel and has a lot to give into it. 96 SCUs worth of cargo, which is the same amount of cargo for the vessel behind. This is the OG variant of the Constellation, the Andromeda. It's a multi-crew ship with a lot of firepower and a lot of oomph. It has, again, as mentioned before, a 96 SCUs worth of cargo. It also has a lovely little hangar bay / cargo lift, which ironically enough, despite its age, still makes it relevant for patch 324, because when the physicalized cargo system came into effect, this kind of cargo system, or this kind of cargo bay, is actually the most suitable for it. Oh, I don't know if anyone, to be fair, either they had fully intended for this ship to serve that purpose or not. I don't know. But it is fucking hilarious how this thing outdates even vessels like the Freelancer series just because of that simple element. It's ridiculous. Anyway, the firepower side of this vessel, the Aquila has a few deadbolts I can see. Size 5s. Yes. No, size 4s. I was right. No, I was right. Solid size 5s. So yes, the Aquila has size 5 deadbolts, but the Andromeda has 4 size 5 Goldrian repeaters. That's how much you know these things are powerful. God only knows what size 6 and 7s are. I think the size 7s and 8s and 9s is just, oh god, when you hear that thing, it's just Death Star. But no, so this particular vessel has, in addition to its 4 size 5 guns, which fire at a ridiculous rate and are very, very powerful, it also has a proverbial fuck ton of missiles. 24 size 2s and 28 size 1 missiles. Okay, you're not going to do a huge amount of damage for them, but what happens when you piss off a hornet's nest? Fuck exactly. This thing is designed to fuck over anything that goes near it and tank and survive and endure. I love this vessel. I used to be very indifferent to this vessel, but this thing is wonderful, and that's why this is the Constellation Taurus, my favorite version of the ship. They change a bit of the ship's manufacturing and remove the snub fighter, which we'll get to in a second, for a massive 174 SCUs worth of cargo, but still maintain the level of firepower, which I absolutely love. Let me just pop this thing down so you can see. It is incredibly worth it. Ironically, this particular vessel, I remember, and I'm going to eat some humble pie here, because when I first saw this particular vessel, this was a couple of years ago. I mean, when was this released? I want to say 2172 released. Oh, it didn't actually say when it... I want to say it was released. Yeah, quick facts, Translation Tourist. When was you released? I want to say it was in 2022 that this vessel was released in... It was 3... Yeah, it was released around 2022 after a long time in development. I need to Google this. I need to Google this. Well, no, I'll look into it, and I'll probably put it in the... I'll put like a word up. So Jaeger, remember, editor. Editor. I'm just doing this so I can see on the timeline. So what you'll be seeing on your screen is when the ship was released. So I'm fairly convinced it was 2022 that this thing came out. And I very much underrated this particular vessel. So we're actually going to hop on now to this particular ship because it is so cool. So no, this vessel is absolutely wonderful. Because the thing is, in my opinion, the Constellation series, the snub of the Constellation series, the interior... You don't need all the fancy pants stuff of the snub fighter and everything else, which we'll get to in a second, don't you worry. But the interior for the vessel is quite simple, quite streamlined, once again doing better than fucking the Star Lancer. But it also has a massive cargo bay, which allows you not only access to the side of the ship, which has its own little airlock on the side, which, yeah, I would say is a pretty useful thing. If you're a fan of airlocks, you can actually get into the ship now without getting your asses handed to, which is hilarious. And the rear of the ship, which previously would take you to the snub nose, instead takes you to an additional sector of cargo storage, which, if you're wanting to keep this little bit of cargo safe and secure, you can do as well, which is very, very nice. This is the security hold, which if you want to avoid getting scanned and doing whatever, so if you have a bit of slightly dubious levels of legality in cargo, you do get that at least. But for the majority of the time, this particular thing has the cargo space you need. But as mentioned, this kind of cargo-based storage system is actually capable of withstanding 324's new cargo system, well, the physicalized cargo system, which not all ships were able to survive on. You also have access to 2 turrets. The Constellation Andromeda has 2 turreted size 3s, I believe. I want to say it's size 3s. Yes, 2 size 3 laser repeaters or Panther repeaters. But on the bottom here, for the Taurus, you have the turret at the top, size 3s, but at the bottom you have a size 2 tractor beam, which is manned, so you'll have to sort of muck around and do some other stuff as well. But it is one that you can use. Going to the crew, the pilot, you get access to the same Goldrian repeaters, which I love. The firepower of this vessel and the maneuverability of this vessel gives it a major edge over other vessels, which is why if you're looking to get into cargo hauling and you're wanting a good ship to start with, Constellation motherfucking Taurus. This is a beautiful vessel. It's maneuverable, it's agile, it has firepower, it's got a very easy to utilize cargo system. In my opinion, there are seldom few vessels that tick the boxes in so many ways. And while the only disadvantages is that this vessel is slightly old in the internal and visuals department, so obviously the struts are a potential problem for some people out there. I don't mind them as much. I'm kind of used to the struts, but I can appreciate that it's not for everyone, and that's fair enough. I'm just going to quickly pop down into here. So going over to the last version of the ships, we are gazing upon the Constellation Phoenix. Now, the Constellation Phoenix is RSI's attempt at being rich and fancy and all of that jazz. And I actually will go into the back of the side of this one because the internals for this one is very unique, unlike the other ones. So before I go into that, let me quickly introduce to you the main draw / feature of the other versions of the Connie, which is the Snub Fighter. Now, the normal edition, the Andromeda, and the Aquila both have the P-52 Kruger P-52. Was it P-52? Yeah, P-52 Merlin Parasite Snub Fighter, which you can dock and undock. I don't know if it's a functional feature at the moment, but you can dock and undock that particular ship inside this inside the game. I'm feeling like that's glitched at the moment, like it's not actually linked up. Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Fair enough. And so basically you can hop into that ship, provide some limited forms of protection and cover for your vessel. This thing is the P-72 Archimedes. Actually, I think that's the P-51, but I'm not too sure. Brain is kind of dubious onto that one, which is hilarious. But still, the other vessel... Yeah, no, it is the P-52. My brain's being stupid now. But no, this vessel is the P-72 Archimedes. Slightly higher in DPS, because unlike the P-52, which has a size 3 Gatling gun, but... Also, size 2 Gatling gun, but... 2 size 1s. This has 4 size 1 weapons, which you can obviously change around and do whatever. Now, going on into the Constellation Phoenix, which, if we pop into here, go up. There we go. So the Constellation Phoenix, as said, is the ship's attempt at turning them, is RSI's attempt at turning them into Origin jump works, which, as you can see by the internals, is very snazzy, very fancy. You go into this room, into here, and as you can see, it's a very big, luxurious vessel with a jacuzzi, which I don't know if you can open or close. Oh, we'll do that in a second. But this thing apparently opens up into a jacuzzi, and it allows you to do some other stuff. But really... yeah, if we head our way towards the back here, there's a few secret passages and open up sort of things. And if we head over to here, you can see the Archimedes options for here. But if we go to the back in this respect, you get to see a hidden room. Or if you open it up, you get the captain's room with a two-way mirror. Ooh. And of course, if you go in here, you have the cargo bay, which is a little bit more muted. But again, it's kind of snazzy fancy, nothing too impressive. Of the versions I have seen of the Constellation series, the Phoenix is my least favorite. If I had to put a scale on what I would say is pretty cool, I would say the Phoenix is at the bottom. Aquila is at the 3rd place. Second place is Andromeda, just sheer to its firepower and missile spam. But number 1 has got to be the Taurus. Seriously, the Taurus is an absolute beast, and it certainly deserves... It is one of my favorite versions of this thing, and I absolutely love it. As we present ourselves towards the holodecks, we are greeted with the sight of 3 rather majestic vehicles, one of which has a nickname that even the developers were like, Oh, we should have done that. This, of course, is the Ursa series of vessels. So the Ursa is it's a very old ground vehicle. Old in the sense of game design, but still very much usable. But yeah, this was one of the first few ground vehicles I actually got to utilize and drive around and also be in part of. When I first started doing stuff initially with the first org I was with, which was BSI, and now we continue to use these things all the way up till today. This is basically a small infantry transport vehicle with a size, we've got driver, co-pilot, who has access to the size 1 repeaters, though if the driver is on his own in the ship, in the ground vic, then he has access to them as well, these little size 1 repeaters on the side here. It's very good if you're trying to drive around, getting the most out of your getting the most visuals out of those things. That is actually pretty cool. But no, it's quite a useful ground vic. You've got 4 seats over here, and as mentioned here, so you can get a maximum of 6 people. Well, 5 people, 6 people including the driver, and a couple of people if they're crouching or doing the emote to stand still. Hopefully, a larger variant of we've got the Spartan from Anvil, but I'm hoping to have kind of an in-betweener sort of thing as well, because that would be kind of nice. Though I've yet to use the Spartan in actuality. It's been a couple years since I've got that thing, but this particular vehicle these vehicles in particular, it'll be interesting to see it'll be interesting to see whether the Spartan's going to live up to its name and going to be a very good ground vic. But I can say from experience, this vehicle is awesome. Downsides is it's very flippable at the moment. The weight system with ground vics means that if you're not careful, you can either A, easily lose a wheel if you're going too fast into something, B, flip the thing over, and if you don't have a tractor beam to fix it upright, you're fucked. And also, it's somewhat limited in terms of space, so it's not the most easy, but hey-ho. Moving on to the luxury variant, this is the Ursa, or the Lynx, which is the Ursa Rover Luxury Edition. Now this one, as you can see here, is again RSI's attempt at being fancy pants, which, technically speaking, you'd have put this thing along... I love how they do... You know what? I'm going to put my little contribution towards that there. That actually... Should I put some Mountain Dew or some fruit juice? I'm gonna put them out. I'm gonna hold the can. Hang on, let me see if I can carry this. Oh, okay, it's that bug again, but that's fine. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna see if it'll spawn. If it'll spawn, hopefully it'll spawn. If not, then damn. All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll plop this thing here and put this alongside. Anyway, so this particular version of the Ursa has a few fancy pants features, some component access, as well as a luxury sort of seat there. You can put a TV up. If we open up this little thing here, you can see you can get like the stats of the latest stock market trades and whatnot. It's, to be fair, the Lynx is a pretty impressive vessel with a decent amount of luxury features inside. So no, I do like this thing. It's got white wall tires as well, which is impressive. So no, I would say it's a pretty decent vessel. If you're wanting to transport someone around on a luxurious stage, you can do this. But then you've got this thing. This thing is the Ursa Medevac. This allows you to have a ground vehicle that has the ability to revive someone if they're at the state of near death, or almost, I think you can set the regeneration point as well. It's a really useful ground vehicle to have, and if you are if you're operating in a combat zone, or you're wanting to provide support for people in a combat zone, you definitely want to have one of these things. If there's any kind of organizational logistics involved with anything, you do need this thing. Now, this is the ground vehicle that the player base came up with a name, and the developers kind of were like, oh fuck, we should have come up with that, which is, of course, the Nursa, which makes so much sense. I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think of it as well. Like, I honestly, when I first heard that, I was like, oh my god, that makes so much more sense. But someone was like, yeah, there's a Nursa. And I'm like, wait, you mean the Ursa Medevac? Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, That makes so much more sense. So the nickname will go with as the Nurser, but this thing is an absolute treasure trove, and if you are a fan of any kind of medical gameplay, or you want to be someone who can help out someone else in the field, this thing is an absolute dream. The Nurser is 100% a dream in that respect. And so we find ourselves moving towards the holodecks once again. Oh god, these days are coming and going very quickly, and my abilities to record them is very difficult, but I do my best and utmost to ensure that they are done as with this clarity and clarity. But onwards to the future of RSI, and the first is the Apollo, I think. Yes! Oh, brilliant, I can recognize the ships now. I know what I'm talking about, yay! So this is the Apollo Triage, a vessel that was slated to be released a year ago, but unfortunately due to some unknown issues, the ship got delayed in its design. So the Apollo Triage is a medical ship that will allow players to essentially revive people, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's a gold. Yeah, so basically it's basically a dedicated modular. Oh, that's why it was delayed. Yeah. So basically, the vessel itself is a hospital ship, and it has the ability to revive people, as well as have modular systems in tow to try and provide the most unique thing, or try and provide the best for care for its. I was about to say its victims, but yeah. The other thing you can also do is you can actually have apparently some kind of medlift device, which has 2 medlift semi-autumn emergency extraction pods, each capable of lifting up to 226 quickly and securely from ground to ship. Each drone is outfitted with a payload of preservation armored, auto-gyro stabilization, shock balance absorption technology to maximize patient safety and comfort throughout the extraction. Oh, so you can like fly these things into a combat zone and pick people up in combat. That is intriguing. But yes, basically the biggest thing about this vessel is that it will have the ability to kind of dictate what it does as a kind of treatment and care. So there's a whole host of options that it has that the players will have the ability to customize, as well as a whole host of other stuff as well that will allow players to adjust and whatever. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool. The vessel's been in development for a long time. Some people have been really cooked into making this particular thing. As said, it was delayed, sadly, due to unforeseen circumstances. Well, I say unforeseen. I don't know why it was delayed. I'm guessing it's because of the modular thing, but that's my personal speculation. I actually have no idea why it was delayed. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to when this vessel does enter into the verse, because a medical ship, a dedicated medical ship, not just an ambulance like the RSI, not like the Anvil Pisces or the Terrapin or the Drake Interplanetary. Like, those are all ambulances. Those are all ships that are designed to get to the zone and pull them out. This is a 100% dedicated hospital ship, which will have a lot of potential to do quite a lot of good. And what is this? It looks good, that's for sure. Wait, is this the Arastra? Oh. Hallo, meine Kinder. You, my little friend there, are going to look so wonderful. Oh, you look so sexy. This is the Arastra. Now, the Arastra is a ship I'm very much interested in. So, the Arastra, which, first of all, looks fucking sexy as shit, is a dedicated mining and refining vessel, which allows you to quantum refine quantum fuel, which then you can put straight into your own fuel gauge, which means you can totally gypsy an asteroid field and get yourself fuel in the process, which is wonderful. The other thing that's absolutely incredible is the mining laser, which is a size 3. It's a very much bigger mining laser. Like, this is the thing that goes in between the Mole and the Orion, apparently. But the cool thing about this vessel is that the mining laser can go from below up to the top deck without having for you to reposition the thing in any place and size, which is really fucking useful. I very much love this. But you also have the ability to send these particular ships out on a massive long mining run to be able to get the vast levels of resources you need to bring them back to home. Which, considering that with the base building now being a thing, to be fair, I completely forgot about the Arastra during base building. But now that I'm thinking about their ship and base building, Oh, oh my god, I am so pumped for this thing. This little industrial bastard is going to be mine one day, and it's going to be glorious. I love this thing. I very much love this thing. I had it for a limited amount of time, but that was before I basically did a massive overhaul of my ship packages. But I do intend on having this bugger in my fleet at some point in the future. Very much so. So, mine someday. I love you. But yeah, this thing has up to 576 SCUs worth of cargo internally. Oh my god, can you imagine how long it would take to fill? Oh, I can imagine doing all those mining runs. Oh, settle down, Jaeger. Settle down, Jaeger. Oh. Ooh, I love my industrial shit. I'm not gonna lie, my brain is being filled with dopamine effects. This is how much of a sad git I am. Yeah! Anyway, before I go have an aneurysm as to how much I absolutely crave the thing. The thing is remote control operator seats with multi-group mining and... Oh, I want it! Anyway, calm yourself, Jaeger. So, going on into the next room, we are introduced to the Galaxy, because I can recognize that outline anywhere. The Galaxy is quite a unique ship, because it is also a modular-based ship. It also looks really fucking nice, I'll be honest with you. The Galaxy is basically a vessel that will be designed to allow you to do a variety of options. Some of these features allowing players to have... Yeah, there you go. So yeah, the ship is designed to have a pretty decent motley array of crew. Like I would say, it's like a medium-esque style ship, but it'll basically allow you to do a number of awesome things. It'll allow you to have either a cargo hauler, which will be able to hold additional, by adding 512 SUs of cargo to the ship's 64. So you'll be able to add 576. Yeah, so basically you're turning your cargo into 576 worth of SCUs worth of cargo, so basically you're going to turn it into a baby caterpillar, which is actually pretty impressive to say the least. The other thing you can also do is you can turn it into a medical bay, so it'll allow you to have tier 1 and tier 2 and even some tier 3 beds as well. I won't go into the details about the bedded tiers, but basically you'll be able to revive and heal and sort all kinds of injuries when it comes to the verse. So that will be making this ship a very useful hospital ship. And finally, you can also turn it into a refining version as well, which is pretty awesome in that. So if you're the kind of person who is doing a large-scale mining operation and you want to get someone, you want to be able to refine your goods, but you don't want to have to take it to a location or risk losing the cargo, you can refine the goods in-house with this thing. Now, this isn't just the only things that will be available as the modules. This thing will also have other modules as well. It is rumored to have, or I say I've rumored, I have heard, but I haven't got any sources to confirm, that it will also have the ability to build bases from this thing, which is an interesting concept, I won't lie. It does put this thing on my radar, and I won't lie, depending on how things go, I will be looking into getting one of these things if what I hope... well, as said, I'm hoping not to, but at the same time, this is a good vessel to work with if you're wanting to establish a medium-sized base. So, watch this space. This particular vehicle, I reckon is going to go... I say it's going places. No, but I reckon this vehicle will have vastly more levels of impact on the Star Citizen universe than currently people think it will. I reckon so. And hello. Yes, This is the Perseus. Now, you may have heard in the videos being released on the Star Citizen that actually one of the developers confirmed that the Perseus was being worked on and is due to come out next year, which I don't blame them. Considering the fact that they've released the Polaris, we're now seeing the Perseus being given the much-needed attention that it does deserve, and I won't lie, I am... somewhat leaning in the direction of getting one of these things because, come on, it's a fucking size 7 on the front. You can't... come on! Oh, not only that, but it's the 2 size 7 cannon from Bering, which you know means you're going to have a fun time when this thing goes. So this is basically a gunboat. It's designed to patrol to patrol areas and provide much-needed backup. It also has 20 size 5 torpedoes. So not only does this thing say fuck off with its size 7 guns, it also has the capacity to zoom you into buggery, which is wonderful. So this vessel definitely is probably more in the leanings of what I would like to command in terms of damage dealing and whatnot, because come on, size fucking 7 cannon. It looks so cool, but also a shitload of torpedoes being spammed out the front does look cool. It's a Star Destroyer. In my mind, I look at this and I see a Venator class Star Destroyer. Actually, no, it probably want to say a proper Star Destroyer from like the. Yeah, from the Civil War days, rather than the Venator class, because the Venator class had like a carrier in the middle. But you can see what I mean. It's big gun on the top, make it look like Star Destroyer. So no, it looks really, really good, and I very much am keen on this particular thing. It looks absolutely looks absolutely wonderful, and I very much look forward to seeing it in action, or at least in game, or both. But yes, that is very nice. I will say RSI Day has been, the Arastra. Oh. Christ, my brain. Anyway, so that's going to be it from me, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you like this kind of content, do let me know in the comment section down below, clicking on the like button, and of course subscribing to the channel. We have got still a fair amount of days to go and quite a lot of time in which to do it. Well, not a huge amount of time to do it in, but we'll be doing what we can to get these episodes out for you as best as we can. I am very much liking this event so far. We have seen some absolute massive bastards in the form of the Polaris, as well as a few other useful forms of ships, vessels, and everything else. I'm in love with this thing. This is absolutely wondrous, and I very much love that. That's just so good. I love it. Mwah, mwah, love it. Now, the whole event, this particular day has been absolutely wonderful, and especially just with this, like, for me, the thing I love the most about this entire thing, I'm kind of rambling at the moment, I really should shut up, is just the momentous achievement we've made today. This particular ship represents to me a major milestone inside Star Citizen. We have accomplished the goal of finally releasing the Polaris. We now finally have a capital class ship available to the players, and we get to utilize now the massive implications of those things going into 4.0, which I'm mega pumped for. I'm really hoping we can get what we need from 4.0, because if we can, oh boy, it's going to be good. So I will catch you all tomorrow for the big day, the penultimate day, the Argo. Actually, no, it's Consolidated Outland that I'm pining for. Please, dear God Emperor, let me succeed. Please, I beg of thee. I'll see you guys next time.